afternoon. Thank you for joining us on Citizen News in Brief this afternoon. Here are the stories we're working for you at this hour. I'd like us to begin now with President William Ruto, who on Sunday met Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni in Entebbe, Uganda. The Ugandan State House says the two leaders discussed topics of mutual interest, particularly trade, security and agriculture. The visit comes a week after President Museveni hosted former President Uhuru Kenyatta. According to Museveni, Uhuru visited him in his capacity as the facilitator of the Democratic Republic of Congo peace process. The Office of Data Protection has moved to court seeking to stop Worldcoin from collecting data from Kenyans. In an affidavit filed by Oscar Otieno, the Deputy Data Commissioner, the Commission argues that the process of collecting personal data through Worldcoin project does not adhere to the principles of data protection. Otieno told the court that from their review, the project is not safe for Kenyans and that investigations are still going on into their operations. He says the Commission commenced assessment of Worldcoin in May 2022 and had suspended their activities in the course of the assessment, but despite the directive, Worldcoin continued with their operations until the time when the Interior Cabinet Secretary, Professor Kithure Kindiki, halted their operations on the 2nd of August this year. The Data Protection Office argues that Worldcoin is likely to tamper with, erase, modify or process the personal data contrary to the Data Protection Act of 2019, thereby frustrating the investigations currently being conducted. All right, now the Ministry of Health has begun a nationwide health facility census to determine the gaps existing in the health sector. Speaking during the launch, the Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha said the assessment will inform the ministry on the services to provide at the various hospitals. The exercise, which is anticipated to run for 2 weeks starting today, seeks to determine the resources as well as the workforce available to run the facilities. Health Director General Patrick Amoth added that the exercise will guide the ministry on planning and investments in the health sector.
We also have...
It is important for us to be able to undertake this exercise, for us to be able to know the services that are being offered by our health facilities. But more critical is also the resources that are present in the various facilities in terms of health infrastructure, health equipment, and most important of all, the health workforce present.
From the county government, in terms of equipment support, human resource support, infrastructure support. We do not want to do it selectively. And that is why we have this health assessment, that as an outcome, then we know exactly what facility needs to be supported with what.
We have a noble task for ensuring all Kenyans have access to high-quality health services when and where they need them, and without suffering financial catastrophe. This health facility census activity will contribute towards that goal and help us better operationalize all the primary care networks in Kenya.
The government and the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, today signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at development and rollout of a digital identity in Kenya. Under the partnership, the UNDP will mobilize resources and provide technical advisory and project monitoring. Immigration PS Julius Bitok, who signed the partnership on behalf of the government, said the partnership will be key to the implementation of the proposed Maisha number that will be the official name for the unique personal identifier, which will be integral to the digital ID. The UNDP resident representative, Anthony Ngororano, signed on behalf of the institution. The official unveiling of both Maisha number and the digital ID is set for October the 2nd this year.
Which we are talking about here is the foundation of access
of digital services or online services. We have launched 5,000 services, but the consumption of those services is hinged around digital identity, that we have to get a digital ID that is very accurate so that Kenyans can, at the ease, at their convenience of their homes, enjoy the 5,000 services that were launched on the eCitizen.
To ensure that Kenya can benefit from the promise of digital transformation. And this, if you will, I think is one of, if not potentially the most important enabler, right? The idea of this, beyond the shiny things that come or are associated with technology, is that we want to make sure that nobody is left behind. And if you will, the evidence is clear. Digital transformation, be it at the level of an enterprise, be it at the level of a government, comes not just with opportunity, but with many risks.
The National Dialogue Committee resumed its sittings today, with the members yet to settle on what will be the priority issues that they will tackle first. The technical committee, comprising 8 members, first held a meeting early morning before the 10-member committee joined in to brief the members on the deliberations they'd had. Despite questions over how long the sittings will take, the committee remained confident that political goodwill will ensure the members reach a resolution over the thorny issues.
Our teams have been ready, but I think that our friends are also now ready, and we want them to engage so that they can look. As you remember, both sides had their set of agendas, and it's important they get synchronized. And that we leave to the technical team to be able to provide the way forward. Once that is agreed, I think we'll be on our way. We'll be on our way.
As much as we have individually briefed our teams, we now want to brief them on what our expectations as a team are to help us realize the objectives that we have out of this dialogue team in the quickest time possible. We have also indicated that we are here to engage in good faith, in line with our laws and our constitution, and we want to believe we are all here in the interest of the Kenyan people and the Kenyan state.
Public Works Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen today inaugurated the Women in Construction Forum, aimed at addressing gender disparity in the industry. Women comprise less than 10% of accredited site workers and supervisors, and only 3% in artisanry. The forum aims to foster inclusivity and collaborative engagement between the government, stakeholders and women. CS Murkomen also emphasized women's contributions and called on them to partner with the government in the affordable housing project.
Thanksgiving, you know. Are you seeing there? We need child care centers around there. We come with the babies, we put them there, we do our things. We put on overalls and those things we usually put on. So I think these are the conversations that we need to have. Beginning today, let's push them forward so that we can create an enabling environment and help create jobs. We are aiming at creating 5 million new jobs in the next 5 years, and this sector must give us at least 30% of those jobs in the next 5 years. Thank you so much.
Markets indicate that construction industry in the country will be on constant growth at an annual average of 6.1 until the year 2025, and some research institutions says as high as 7%. So the question is, how do we accelerate this? These insights tally with those of another report released early last year by Institute of Women and Policy Research. Industry which we need about 62,000 new hires every month for the next 3 years to meet the growing house demands.
The government, through its various MDAs, has adopted a gender mainstreaming policy to ensure that issues such as gender-based discrimination and gender-specific workplace needs are firmly addressed. The policy also calls for adherence to a 1/3 gender rule within its human resource recruitment practice, which is expected to reflect across all the cadres.
Niger's military junta has announced plans to prosecute deposed President Mohamed Bazoum for high treason and undermining national security. The junta said in a statement read out on state TV that it had gathered evidence to prosecute the deposed president and his local and foreign accomplices. That is the latest sign that the junta intends to resist international pressure to return power to Bazoum. He has been held in the basement of his palace together with his wife and son since the military staged a coup about 3 weeks ago. His doctor who visited him said he was, quote, in good spirits despite being held in, quote, difficult conditions. Kenya's Vihiga Queens won their first match of the CECAFA Women's Championship in Uganda, beating New Generations of Zanzibar 3-1. Generations scored first, but Vihiga equalized before half-time, then added 2 more goals in the second half to secure the win.
The Kenyan side continuing to show their intentions. And here they come, New Generations. Amina release, rounds up the goalkeeper and buries the ball in the back of the net. And who saw that coming? As Amina Hamed had something to celebrate, and you can see what this Zanzibari side, Vihiga Queens, sending that ball in, headed away, and now Babidia Winnie makes a turn, twisting and turning on just on the edge, and Winnie sends the ball in, and a drop ball in the back of the net, as Babidia Winnie manages to bring matters to level terms, and Vihiga Queens New Generations celebrations as well will continue here. Drop ball as Vihiga Queens are desperate to find their way back in the game. A drop ball coming in the area and it eludes the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Well, Vihiga Queens now make it to Enda, who sends the ball in. You can see the frustration. Still going with power. You can see that Vihiga Queens come here with intentions. Contact in the area and the referee. But Martha Amunyolet with the chance to bury that ball in the back of the net. Sends that ball in the bottom corner, made her mind up. And of course, powered the Vihiga Queens, who are now on 3 against New.
Let's leave it there for now. We'll have more for you at 7 and at 9. Have a good afternoon.